Good morning and welcome to video 6. Now in video 6 we're going to discuss side spin. Now usually side spin is put at the end of all of the other training, but in this case I'm going to put it in now before we go into stop shots and we go into draw shots, because I want you to have a fundamental foundation to go on. Now we have to have an idea of what our cue ball is going to do once it touches a rail, or what it's going to do when it goes off of an object ball and touches the rail. So things are going to change. Some little tiny physics are going to change in there. So it's important to get our foundation down. So this morning what I want you to do is get your book out, and I'd like to have you shoot the cue ball. Put it on the table and shoot straight into the diamond, the second diamond up in the middle of the table. Now what you want to do is try to hit exactly in the center of the cue ball and make it come back to the first diamond. Now on a small table like this 3.5 by 7, the diamonds are 10 inches apart. So what I want you to do is I want you to have the cue ball hit exactly on the center diamond and come over 1 inch, and then repeat that all the way down until you can get out here to 20 inches, maybe even go out as far as 25, which is very difficult to do, both sides, left side and right. When you start hitting this cue ball and you start hitting farther and farther out on the edge, you're going to have a little bit of deflection coming off the cue ball and the cue tip. So it's going to be very hard to adjust for that deflection according to how far out you hit. So you're going to have to watch that deflection part of it, but it's something you need to learn, because as you do these 1 inch all the way out to 25 inches, you're going to see you have more and more deflection, and you need to write that in your book too and understand how much deflection. So if you're shooting off the side of the cue, if you're getting way out here on the edge of the cue and you start stroking straight through, and you can see that you have a deflection over here of about 1 inch, even though your ball is going over here, you might have to compensate for that if you're striking an object ball, because if you're going into an object ball and you're trying to hit that object ball straight on and then do some side spin, and you get out here with your deflection and it's well over to the side, you can see that it deflects over just a little bit. So you need to compensate for that. Now there's a lot of videos out there that can help you with deflection, so I'm not going to worry about putting that in here right now. There's some good ones out there, so go watch them. But what I want you to do is, once you wrote down your book, I put down in my book numbers 1 through 25, which represent inches. And then off to the side of that, I put, like for 1 inch, I want to go 1/32 of an inch off center with my cue ball. So, with my cue stick. So I try to line up dead center of the, put this up here, try to line up dead center of my cue ball and then move over to the right side 1/32 of an inch, and then I hit straight in the rail, and I can come back and hit about 1 inch right in here where I touch that ball. Now if I want to go to the other side of it, which is about 2.5 inches over, 2 inches over is 1/16. So I can aim straight into the rail, move over 1/16 and shoot the ball and come in and hit on this side of the ball. Now that's getting pretty precise, and that's what you want to do. You want to get this foundation of preciseness, because that's the difference between cutting a ball one way or cutting another. It's inches, it's centimeters. And so that's what we're looking to do. Once you have what written down in your book, grab all your balls, just at random, and just stack them along the edge. Okay? This is a pretty good little game to play. Put your cue ball back up here, and then you can look in your book and you can say, okay, first of all I got to hit that, come back here and hit number 1, and then I have to hit number 2, and then number 3 and 4 and 5 and so on all the way through 15. It gives you accuracy, and that's what you're looking for, is that real fine accuracy. Now if you're a player that doesn't care about being accurate, you just want to be in the zone, that's fine. But you're going to find out in a lot of games that you need that precision to hit a rail, come back and cut a ball in, or hit a ball, or go between two balls. You had to hit right here between two balls. you're going to need that precision, and you have to have a foundation. Well, with this game, you're going to reach a foundation. Now, we're dealing with two squares here. So you can pretend like if you took this half of the square and you swung it around like this at the table. So if you're shooting a ball up to the end of the table and back, you can get that same accuracy just by measuring where they cross at this point going up and where they cross at this point coming back. And if it's, say, 6 inches between, it's the same shot as if you're going to here and coming over 6 inches. It's the exact same shot. The only difference is you're going farther. And with a little bit farther, you're going to have, you might have to strike a little bit harder because you're doing a little more distance. You have to make sure your cue is dead level, because if you raise the butt end of your cue up and you're coming down on like this, you're going to have a little bit of a masse in there. So you got to watch for that, a little bit of throw. If you're hitting way far off center, clear off, or say two and a half tips off center, you're going to have more deflection. And if, depending on how hard you hit it, that deflection is going to be more or less depending on how hard you strike that ball. And this is where you have a ball that's right close to the pocket, and you shoot at it and you miss, and you wonder to yourself, well, how could I have missed that shot? And if you don't understand how come you missed it, you need to go and practice this, because most of the time you miss is because you didn't account for the deflection of the cue off of the cue ball. You didn't account for the reaction of the ball as it went into the felt if you were shooting a little bit down on it. You didn't account for the throw that you're getting off of the object ball as it goes to the pocket. You have to account for all these things. So that's why I'm trying to give you a good foundation. So when you miss a shot, you can say, I understand exactly why I missed that shot. It's not like, oh, well, I missed that shot. I wonder what happened. Don't be scratching your head. You should know why you missed that shot. Okay? So anyway, start playing this game. Get wrote down in your book all this little 1/16, 32nd, or centimeters, however you do it, half tip, full tip, 3/4 tip, whatever makes you feel comfortable on your measurements to hit these spots on the table. But it's very important, because we're going to be using this in our carom shots, we're going to be using this in our draw shots. We have to understand our throw and our physics and all that stuff. So start writing this down right now. This is our foundation starter. Okay, thank you, and I will be back on carom shots.